This is a tea time chat about getting the best bang for your buck. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. I have a cup of tea, which means it's time for a tea time chat. It's still eyeshadow palette month, and today, in honor of eyeshadow palette month, I thought we could talk this tea time chat about the best bang for your buck. So, what are some eyeshadow palettes where I feel they don't break the bank, but you still get incredibly good quality? These are not going to be the cheapest things in my makeup collection per se, but they are going to all have great quality, because that's of course what we're all looking for in this day and age with all of these things. But with all of the things going on in the world is what I'm trying to say here. And these aren't necessarily dupes, because that's something I haven't really mentioned anywhere yet, but I just want to chip in here as well really quickly, because Charlotte Tilbury has said something about dupes and how she disagrees with it. Get the original if you can. And I'm probably going to be the minority here, but I agree with her up to a certain point. I don't fully agree with that statement, but I do think that especially the types of brands that blatantly copy and even make the product look the same as the more high-end thing, those are the kind of brands that don't really sit well with me. There's a reason why I haven't showcased MCO Beauty here on the channel, even though that brand is now available here in the Dutch drugstore. I just don't really agree with the fact that they seem to just have products that are dupes of pretty much everything. There used to be a day and age when finding dupes as a makeup reviewer or as a makeup user was all about sort of what this video is about today. Finding something within the drugstore that was far cheaper than the high-end version, but that gave the same effect. The packaging might be different, the formula might be completely different, but I feel that especially in the past couple of years, there has been a focus within many brands, looking at you, Essence and Catrice, but like so many more affordable brands do this, and MCO Beauty has pretty much made it their business model almost. Makeup Revolution, of course, got started that way as well, where they were duping all of the Urban Decay palettes at some point, and then the Too Faced Chocolate Bar, where they're not really focused on creating innovations at an affordable price point anymore, but where they're just seemingly copying. I'm not saying they are exact copies, but where they are copying more expensive brands and are just offering it to people cheaper, at a cheaper price point. And in a way, finding affordable makeup items, I feel there's a reason why I want to do this video. I think there is merit in that. Not everybody has the same budget. Not everybody can spend money on a Charlotte Tilbury product. But I do think at the same time that, buying something that is then cheaper, in the end, everything that I've tried over time very rarely exceeds the high-end thing. There are things that I like better that are dupes, but they aren't marketed as dupes. And I think there is, I take issue with brands that make it part of their marketing. Things that e.l.f. launched, MCO Beauty, Essence and Catrice do this as well, where they're not, Essence and Catrice aren't even hiding anymore that they are duping K-beauty brands at this point. But, because everybody can see it. Everybody can see that soft glam blush that Catrice has is very similar to the Rare Beauty powder blushes. Everybody could see that, the e.l.f. Power Grip was very similar to the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. And I think that this is just really a sign of the times where people do still want nice things, and they want things to look nice, but they are just no longer willing to pay that amount of money, especially if the product isn't going to perform or these cheaper products are going to perform as good as the higher end things. So I definitely feel that there is a shift in where makeup users see that, and I think there is merit in that. Makeup can be very expensive, especially a brand like Charlotte Tilbury, where I also have found that I don't like the quality of everything, and I definitely have things in my makeup collection that are dupes for Charlotte Tilbury products by, for instance, Catrice, like the Soft Glam Liquid Filter. I like it better than a Charlotte Tilbury. I still have a mini of the Charlotte Tilbury, so I can always show like the difference between the two if I want to. But at the same time, I do feel that rather than buying loads of cheaper dupes, I think there's also merit in saving up your money and buying that one nice thing from a more luxury brand as well. So we don't need everything. And I think that these dupe brands, and I'm talking particularly about brands that are just blatantly duping things for the sake of duping things, are sort of jumping into this like wish of, but we also need, like, you don't need a new product, a new makeup product every single week like you see people like me online have. Like, I show a haul every month so that you know a little bit of what's coming up, like, review-wise. That's the only reason why I show what I buy. But especially if you're watching, like, beauty influencers who get things sent in PR, please don't think that you need to bring in makeup as quickly as that as well. And I definitely think that these dupe brands are sort of targeting that audience. You know, the Shein crowd, the people who believe they need a new outfit every single time they go on vacation because that's what they see influencers do. This is something I've never understood about the whole influencer economy to begin with. Like, back in the day, back when I was watching some more fashion influencers, they would like buy a completely new wardrobe because they were going on vacation. And I'm like, I could not wrap my head around it. And the idea of like buying things to wear them once and then return them. Like, I feel like the dupe brands are sort of like doing to makeup a bit like, you know, when Colourpop was doing like bi-weekly releases all the time. Thankfully, they've stopped doing that. But this like fast fashion-y sort of approach to beauty, we've really been seeing in like the past 5 or 6 years, that has become a real thing. Like, we don't just want to buy one nice eyeshadow palette, we want to buy 10 a month. And I think that if we can get ourselves to get out of that headspace, if we need to buy everything, focus on buying what's right for you, and I hope that this channel can help you make those choices, and that's why I wanted to make this video right now, because these are all incredibly good eyeshadow palettes. None of them are dupes. They are all really pretty palettes in their own right, at least in my opinion, and yet they are going to give you the same impactful things as some of my favorite formulas of eyeshadow, which I will be chatting about a little bit later this month, but that I think, or maybe even this week, that I think are just going to be a lot of fun for you guys. So I just wanted to come on here, grab a cup of tea, and chat about my favorite really good eyeshadow palettes that don't break the bank. Some of these may be a little bit more expensive, but I don't think I have anything here. No, I don't think I have anything here that's going to be over 40, 45 euros. So this is all under 50 euros, which for the size of these eyeshadow palettes, a lot of them are actually like a really good deal for that reason as well. But these are also excellent formula-wise. No notes with these color story-wise. Every shade in the palette works, and yet they don't break the bank. Let's roll. So I told you that not necessarily everything here is going to be very cheap, but of course my favorite very affordable eyeshadow would be the MUA palettes. You could go for the 15 pan, you can even go for this 5 pan. The 5 pans are under $5 or 5 euros, I believe, and then the 15 pans are just a little bit more expensive. I believe these are £3 at the UK drugstore. This is the Stardust palette. I think this is a wonderful color story. I just still really love it. It's got a really nice sort of duochrome moment in here. This is impactful eyeshadow. Yes, the packaging is cheap. I wouldn't recommend traveling with this, but if all you have is a small makeup bag that you keep all of your makeup in every single day, then this is going to be excellent, almost indie quality makeup, but at £3 at the UK drugstore. I did an entire video the other day where I compared like drugstore to K-beauty to indie and high-end, and one of the things I said in that video, and I stand by it till this day, one of the reasons why you don't see me testing out a lot of drugstore eyeshadow palettes anymore is A, I can't get them, and because K-beauty has replaced it for me. At a similar price point to a Maybelline, Max Factor, L'Oreal, those type of brands, their eyeshadow palettes you can get something like this from Romand, and it's going to be prettier and easier to work with, and it's not going to look patchy or chalky on you. If you have a deep skin tone, K-Beauty may be challenging though. There is that caveat. But I've got plenty of other things here that are going to work if you have a deeper skin tone than mine. But this is the Mahogany Garden palette. I love this thing to pieces. It's one of my favorite warm tone palettes in my entire makeup collection. I still love this. When I got it, it was like 12 euros. These have gotten a little bit more expensive. I get mine from YESSTYLE. They do regular deals, and if you use my code, you can get 5% off as well. So if you were interested in this one, you can have a look at that. Another realm you can check out if you want really good eyeshadow palette, but that doesn't really break the bank, is C Beauty. I'm holding up a Cheeryep palette. This is one of the lighter, more neutral ones. I feel Cheeryep has different price point for different types of palettes that they do. Their collab palettes that have more special shades in tend to be a little bit more expensive than something like this. This was around like 22 euros on YESSTYLE, and then the Starcore that was released at the same time as this is the Daydream or the Daylight palette. That one was like 35. So they do have different price points within their range. Just be aware of that. But this again, really excellent quality, really nice color stories. They do these really wonderful light things that are more neutral, and they are also really good at doing the more intense, like holographic, multi-chrome shimmers, interesting color stories, more cool toned as well than what you will find in a lot of Western makeup. Another brand to look into if you want indie makeup, but because I think everything else is indie. Yeah, everything else is pretty much an indie brand. So if you want indie eyeshadows, they again can be very expensive, but you don't have to buy the very expensive brands or, you know, the palettes that have like 25 plus shades. It's not necessary if you don't want to. You could do with a 9-pan, and these 9-pans from Fantasy Cosmetica. I'm holding up the Rogue, which is my favorite one by them. I think this is an excellent color story. I love these shades, and I think they're just really good. And I think these are like, what, 40 euros for 9 shades, which is, you know, pretty decent. It's not like you get 18 in here, so if you want quantity, for sure, get one of the other palettes I'm about to show you. But I think Fantasy Cosmetica just always nails their color stories. I don't have all of them because not all of the color stories appeal to me, but I really enjoy their palettes, and at least they aren't as expensive as some other indie brands are. I think one of the more affordable indie brands on the planet is Glamlite. This is their Chucky palette. I believe this is still on their website. And this is gorgeous. It's got these beautiful like burgundy tones in here. Love this. It's such a good take on like a grungy color story that also has some cool tones in. I really enjoy this palette. Now, I haven't looked into Glamlite recently, but I believe this one was around 35 euros or something like that. So again, Glamlite, as far as indie brands go, isn't something that's going to break the bank per se. I think their larger palettes, maybe like the Lord of the Rings palette that they did that a lot of people liked, is probably going to be a little bit more expensive. I haven't tried too many of the really big Glamlite palettes. I like their 15 pans best, but I think they are an indie brand to try if that's what you're looking for. If you're in Europe and you want something that's not going to break the bank, try Glossgods. Their 12 pans are 40 euros. I believe there are 15 pans that they're currently doing. Those are a little bit more expensive. Those are like 50 or 55. But the 12 pans are like 39.95 or like 42.95, something like that. And I really like the first Gal of Jupiter. It's such a good cool tone color story. One of the best ones, in my opinion, that exists on this planet. There's a little bit of warmth here, so it's not too stark of a contrast if that's not what you're into. But this is excellent. They are very affordable, especially if you're in Europe. If you're in the US, this may not be worth it because you are going to be hit with tariffs. That's not on the brand. That's just how international trade laws work. So don't be disappointed if you are in the US and you order from them and it takes 6 weeks to get your package and you have to pay extra, because you probably will. Another really good bang for your buck is Beauty Bay. Somebody already mentioned it when I did my video comparing the drugstore, K-Beauty, high-end, and also indie brands. Like, hey, what about Beauty Bay? Beauty Bay to me is a bit hit and miss. I've tried Beauty Bay palettes that I've absolutely adored, like this one, but I've also tried a couple where I'm like, wasn't really for me. So the smoky palette I really enjoy. I think if you get their 9, 16, or I think it's 42 palettes that they do in this sort of like setup where they have like one particular color story. They do a bright version, they do a neutral version. I think they have a green version, a blue version, a purple version. Like they do every color under the sun really in these like palettes, and you can get them in different sizes. If you're truly stumped for choice, get the big guy or get one of their deals where they have a bundle. I bought a bundle for both this one and the big guy in a sale, and I think I paid 25 euros for both palettes. And this, it's very similar quality to like Glamlite or other indie brands you're going to try, and it's really not going to break the bank. I think Beauty Bay is also pretty easy to get internationally. So I believe they calculate all of the tariffs and fees at checkout, so you know exactly what you're paying for, which is another helpful thing. So yeah, Beauty Bay does excellent, really affordable eyeshadows that they're just going to give you bang for your buck. That's what this video is all about, you know? Another brand that gives you a lot of bang for your buck is Cosmic Brushes or Cosmic Beauty. This is the Wonderland palette. This is one of my favorite blue, green, purple color stories. I love this. This is, again, excellent quality. You get 20 shades. And as far as I know, this is like 40 euros. I think the first palette I ever got from them was their Serenity palette, and that was like 20 or 25. I mean, that was even cheaper. They've gotten a little bit more expensive over time, but they do excellent things. They do fun shimmers. There's multi-chromes in these, and yet they don't really, like, again, they don't break the bank. This is excellent quality. They're available through MONOLITH in case you're in the EU, but their UK website now also ships to the US again. They had a stop for a while there as they were figuring out the entire tariff system, but they are now shipping worldwide again. I've got two more to share with you. The Creme de la Creme here from Glam Shop I like a lot as well. Glam Shop is a Polish indie brand, so again, a great brand to look into if you're in Europe. I do know from people in the comments that this brand can be a little bit expensive depending where you are in Europe. Their shipping prices do not seem to be the same for all of the EU. So for me, the last time I ordered with them, it was just under 10 euros to get it shipped over to me. And I, of course, didn't have to pay for any additional fees. But do know that these larger palettes are roughly like 35 euros. And then the 9 pans are usually like 22.50 or something. I think I got some of mine when they were still 17.50. But again, this is indie level eyeshadow quality, really, really good bang for your buck, and definitely a good value for money if that's what you're looking for. And if you're in Poland, I believe you can just go to the drugstore and find this brand, which I want to go to Poland just for that, you know? One day I'll make it to Poland. It's still very much on the list to go at least to Krakow. That's a city that's very much on my wish list to travel to in like the next 5 years or so. And then, of course, we need to discuss Nomad. Again, Nomad, I feel, has gone up in price over time. It depends on what palette you get from them, how expensive they are. I feel that the more special shades they put in their palette, a bit like Cheeryep, the more expensive it is. I think their last launch was like 60 euros, but this one I believe was like 39 as well, or maybe 44.95 I think I paid for this one. So that's still underneath that 50 euro mark that I mentioned. This is the Chamonix Après Ski, and again, it's got like these pinky tones, like purpley blues, and these like green tones. It's really pretty. It's got all of my favorite shades in, really wonderful shades in here, and an excellent formula, especially if you like something that's a little bit sheerer than most other indie brands. A lot of indie brands, it can be quite thick, a little bit heavier, and I feel with Nomad you get a thinner formula that's a little bit more buildable and easier to use if you're a beginner with makeup. And I do feel that even though, you know, this is a pretty large palette, you get 18 pans, and it's still a very reasonable price point as far as indie shadows go. So those were the eyeshadow palettes that I wanted to mention here today. These are the brands that I think you should really look into if you do want to get really good, like excellent quality makeup, but you don't want it to like bankrupt you in the end, right? That was the point of the video. Of course, there's many other things. I mean, most things at the drugstore can be a little bit hit and miss. So again, I also sometimes feel, and coming back to the start of the video where I was talking about dupes, just because it looks like it's going to be the same product doesn't mean that it's going to be the same product. And I also feel that especially at the cheaper end of the spectrum with makeup, you need to try quite a bit to find the products that are right for you. And that can then, of course, also cost more money. So that's why I am still very much in favor of, just trying to save up and buy the one thing you truly, truly want, rather than buying loads of cheaper things that never really tickle that itch. In my experience, I did this with Too Faced. I wasn't exactly sure whether the chocolate bar was going to be for me. So I first bought the Makeup Revolution, like cheaper version at that time, and decided I liked it enough, and I still bought the Too Faced palette. So then I could have just gone out and bought the Too Faced palette straight away, and I would only have that cost once rather than buying the cheap version first. So especially if you're like, I just want to see what it does and I'm going to buy, you might as well just buy the expensive thing, wait a little while longer, and get the thing you truly want, rather than the far cheaper thing that maybe you don't want as much and you're going to replace it anyways. So the cheaper things can still make sense, but approach it from like okay, I'm just going to buy this because it works for me kind of system, whatever purchase you make, and don't just like buy loads of drugstore things or cheaper things that are dupes for higher end things if you know you're not going to like it. And then, it's not a race, really. It's not about how much you have. It's about what you do with it as well. So thanks so much for watching me here today. I hope you enjoyed this tea time chat. Check back for more tomorrow, because in all the month of August, I will be posting daily because of eyeshadow palette month, and I'm hosting a giveaway at the same time. So there's loads of goodness coming your way. So thank you so very much for being here, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.